Welcome to Season 2 of Red Sox Digest, the only show where pain, sarcasm, and false hope collide nightly, like a Masataka Yoshida ground out to second. We break down every loss, every meltdown, and the occasional win, with sarcasm, facts, and no front office spin. Subscribe today at RedSoxDigest.com or keep wondering how a wildcard team spent an entire offseason avoiding power hitters. And now, here's the crew at Red Sox Digest.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Delfino. And folks, I got to be honest, I had more faith in a broken beer tap at Fenway pouring a perfect Guinness than I had in this team taking 2 out of 3 from the Brewers. I'm the guy who spent the last week preparing eulogies for the 2026 Red Sox season like it was already dead and buried. Now sitting here trying to explain how they accidentally played competent baseball. I had less confidence in this team than a Yankees fan trying to explain what a clean shave is. Joining me tonight is Nick Face, a man who tweets like he's managing the team from his couch, screaming at strangers, blocking anyone who disagrees, and tonight somehow has to pretend he believed this team wouldn't completely implode. Nick was ready to trade half the roster for a bag of sunflower seeds just 48 hours ago. Joining us as well as Thayer Doyle, the most level-headed man in Red Sox Nation, which means he's been calmly explaining fundamentals while this team forgets how to hit, how to throw, and breathe for the last week. Thayer's out here teaching baseball like it's a middle school classroom while the Red Sox are eating glue in the corner. And of course, John Martinello is with us, Mr. Analytics himself, the guy who probably had a spreadsheet explaining how a 2-8 start is actually encouraging if you adjust for wind speed, humidity, and emotional trauma. John, I'm sure somewhere in your data, this series win was due. Let's get into it. Your Boston Red Sox somehow are not completely dead. They take 2 out of 3 from the Brewers at Fenway, and I swear to God, nobody saw this coming. Game 1, disaster. Absolute classic Red Sox meltdown. Errors, bullpen issues, late game collapse. You know, the usual circus. We're all sitting there going, yep, here we go again. Then game 2, they win 3-2. Trevor Story actually shows up with a clutch 2-run double. The pitching holds. The bullpen doesn't light itself on fire. And you're sitting there thinking, wait, are they allowed to do that? And then today, a 5-0 win, a shutout, Sonny Gray dealing, the lineup actually producing runs with, wait for it, situational hitting. RBI walk, sac fly, timely singles. They built a lead, and this is the shocking part, didn't immediately give it back like it's a charitable donation. Trevor Story again contributing, not striking out 14 times, not grounding into oblivion, actually driving in runs. Rafaela getting on base. Abreu contributing. The offense looked like, dare I say, a professional baseball team for about 48 hours. And the pitching quietly was actually good. Starters gave you length. Bullpen didn't implode. And for one brief shining moment, the Red Sox didn't look like a traveling comedy act. But let's not get carried away here. This is the same team that started 2-8. This is the same lineup that disappears for entire games. This is the same organization that treats roster construction like a group project where nobody does the work. So what is this? A turning point or just a 3-day hallucination? Because we've seen this movie before. They give you just enough hope, just enough to pull you back in before ripping your soul out by the next road trip. And that's the problem. You don't trust it. Not yet. You watch this team look like the worst offense in baseball, and now suddenly they're stringing together at bats, scoring runs, and pitching clean innings. It's like watching a guy fail his driver's test 10 times and then randomly win the Daytona 500. So yeah, credit where credit is due. They took the series. They didn't fold. They actually played baseball like they remembered the rules. But I'm not buying stock just yet. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, but I have said enough. Nick, it's time for us to face the facts.
It's time for Face the Facts, where excuses get laughed out of the room, your feelings are irrelevant, and your opinion probably doesn't matter. No spin, no cope, just the facts. And now, your esteemed host, Nick Face.
Your word of the day is stunned. I don't like to be wrong. I don't. And I said that the Brewers were going to sweep the Red Sox, and the Red Sox take 2 of 3. Am I happy about it? Not really, because I still don't think that this team is anywhere close to being a competitive playoff-bound baseball team. I don't. I think last night's game, we got lucky. Today, I think the Brewers just didn't show up. I really do. If we want to get all hot and bothered about Trevor Story and the 5-hole now hitting, I think you need to leave the planet, because he'll probably have a weekend series where he'll whiff across the whole land in St. Louis, and we'll be right back to square one with him. So am I happy that he's settled into the 5 slot? Sure. Is this sustainable? No. The positive takeaway here is the guy that I thought actually was going to be half decent coming here to Boston was Sonny Gray. I think he's the talking point for me today. The lineup, it is what it is. There were walks, there were little dinky hits, whatever. That didn't excite me today. What got me into it was Sonny Gray, a guy that was brought in here as a veteran type that's going to take the ball, who's going to compete, and who you can trust. Today, he did that. I think we saw today a compete level with him. I think we saw a guy that reminded me a lot of Jake Peavy. I think that compete, that desire to win, that I want to get better, don't take that ball from me. I mean, that's what happened today with him and Cora. He goes to, don't you take that ball from me. I want that 1,000 times on my team. Give me
John
fire.
Lackey in that too.
Absolutely. Give me fire. Give me passion. Give me that ball. And that's exactly what we saw here today. I think we'll see probably that up and down little trip here with Sonny Gray, but I'll take a positive today. That was great on a day that you needed it to get your first back-to-back wins of the season. That was great to see. I think the other thing that we want to talk about here a little bit is the bullpen actually getting the job done on a day where Justin, Mr. Injury-prone Slayton goes down. And you also get the Oviedo news that we won't see him the rest of the season. We all told you that. We told you that. Damaged goods. So you had today a combination of, at the back end of the game, you had Ryan Watson, which we have seen. But I think from looking at everything, the biggest thing is, Jim, I love your joke on Carmen Sandiego. It's really not his name, but we can nickname him. That's Robert Samiaggio, if that's how you pronounce it. He pitched an inning today. He did have a walk in there, but 3 Ks. That definitely impressed me. And Dippity-Doo Weissert is still on planet Earth. When what did he go? 2/3 of an inning, and got out of the 6th to get out of that. So all in all, actually went out of the 7th. Excuse me, got the inning out of the 7th, because I went 7th. Then it went Carmen Sandiego 8, and then Watson with the 9th. All in all, great. I mean, you saved some other high leverage guys, like a Chapman gets today off. Whitlock desperately needed a day off, which you needed. So that was good. All in all, the positive takeaway again, my stance was the Sonny Gray. That was great to see. And now we get ready for St. Louis, which we'll talk about shortly.
Yeah, we sure will. Face the Facts is brought to you by the Keyboard Warrior Kinetics, the only company scientifically proven to increase your typing speed on Twitter. Comes pre-installed caps lock, auto insult replies, and with a built-in you don't know ball button for instant arguments with Tristan Casas and Joyer on Twitter. Keyboard Warrior Kinetics, because yelling at your phone is a full body workout. I want to switch now over to the Martinello Minute.
And now, the part they don't want said out loud. No spreadsheets or corporate spin, just the truth, raw and impatient. This is the Martinello Minute.
We won a game yesterday. We won again today. That's called 2 in a row. If we win again Friday, it's called a winning streak. It's happened before. Little reference to Major League to get me going. Just as I predicted on our last show, Red Sox lose game 1, 8-6. Sox jumped out to an early 3-0 lead and blew it immediately. Just how they have. It felt like every single time they scored a run this season leading up until today, and that's exactly what happens. Since opening day, every single time the Red Sox scored, somebody else scored the half inning after. But thank God that's out the window. Brian Bayo had an odd outing in game 1. He had 17 whiffs, which is great, but 4 walks, 5 hits over 3 1/3 innings. 58% strike rate despite throwing 70% first pitch strikes. He escaped heavy traffic in the first 3 innings of the game, but then completely lost it in the 4th. The sell the team chance came out for a second day in the row. And at this point, the 3-0 lead turned into a 4-3 deficit in just an inning. John Henry, we saw the clip. He heard the chirps and genuinely looked annoyed, which was great to see from our standpoint. And Nesson makes pop flies look like they're going 500,000 feet. I know it's cold and I know the wind was blowing in, but guess what? Camera operators know that too. That's a great graphic. The camera operators
That's Linda, right?
know that the wind's blowing in. Like, it's been going on for years with Nesson, where just every single time the ball goes up in the air, they think it's, going over on the Lansdowne. And, I'm just sick of seeing that happen. But another thing from game 1, you're not going to win at the major league level walking 8 guys in a ball game. So that game sucked. So enough talking about that. Game 2, Garrett Crochet got a second chance to pull the Red Sox out from the depths of hell. 6 1/3 innings, 7 strikeouts, 2 runs, one of which was charged after he was pulled. And shout out to Zach Kelly for not imploding. That's a first for him. And that was enough. Yep. Crochet earned the win over Mizorowski, who struck out 5 of his 6 batters he faced. He struck out 10 in the game and was just dominant until this. I believe it was the 6th inning where he just completely fell apart, walking 3 batters in a row. And then he was pulled and the Red Sox started scoring. Trevor Story was the difference in game 2. Bottom of the 6th, came up with the bases loaded, and Pat Murphy had to be smoking on something illegal, because I don't know why the hell you're putting in a left-handed pitcher against Trevor Story, but I don't care how bad Story's been. You give any veteran in this league an advantage with the bases loaded, they're going to do some damage. So 2-run double by him, followed up by Caleb Durbin's swinging bunt, gave the Sox a 3-0 lead. That's all they needed. They survived game 2, and after that, Garrett Whitlock, 1-2-3 inning. Great to see after the night before absolutely imploded. And then Chapman in the 9th. It's freezing outside. Guys aren't going to be throwing as hard as they typically do. I'm not concerned at all about his velocity drop in that game, but maybe we'll get into that later. Sox win game 2, 3-2. And then today, Nick said it already, Sonny Gray, phenomenal quality start. 6 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and most importantly, no runs scored. His cutter was really good. He had a 40% chase rate on that, and his sweeper generated a 33% whiff rate. Trevor Story added another 2 RBIs today, and he has 8 now on the year. I think that leads the team. Wilyer Abreu keeps getting it done against left-handed pitching. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI. And lastly, Wilson Contreras, best series of the year, and he did it without killing anybody on the Brewers, so that's good to see. He had 5 hits, 1 homer, 3 RBIs, 3 runs scored, 4 walks, not including the hit by pitch. He has 11 walks this year compared to just 12 strikeouts, so that's nice to see. So Red Sox win today, 5-0. They win the series, and shout out to me for being the only one on this panel who had them winning 2 out of 3.
You.
So his new
The
restaurant,
Martinello Hour.
Yeah, new restaurant open up. The Martinello Minute is sponsored by the Expected Bistro, where you order a steak and never actually get one. But don't worry, the nerd data says it was incredible. Our chefs specialize in advancing metrics cuisine. Your meal had a 97% expected deliciousness, XED, elite seasoning velocity, and a top-tier chew rate. It just didn't show up on your plate. Ask for the check. You'll get a spreadsheet explaining why you already paid based on projected satisfaction. The expected bistro, because who needs actual food when your numbers say you already ate? And now it's time for the third strike.
And now it's time for the third strike with Thayer.
No, we're having some audio difficulties with there. Just 1 minute, folks. All right, we're gonna
He's a
have to come
mime
back
tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come back to
He's a
Thayer
mime.
on the
He's at a
third
loss
strike.
for words. The Red Sox won 2 out of 3.
He is.
He's having a little audio difficulty. If you can hear me, just chime in when you got your
Yeah, you want
audio
mine?
back.
There you go.
Can you
I'll
hear
boom
me
it
now?
in for you. We can hear you.
All right.
There he is.
Excellent.
See, that's all I had to do. I'm just sharing. Sharing is
Thank you
caring.
for the microphone, Nick. I appreciate it. All right. This team is a conundrum. I don't know where to go with them right now. They start the year off playing terribly. And we talk about how this is an atrocious team. They can't do anything right. The Brewers come in here 7-3. Everyone's talking about how they're fantastic. They came off a 95 win season and they look like us the last 2 games. So I don't know what's going on. Are the Red Sox as bad as they were? Are the Brewers as good as we think they are? Or are they kind of like us? If we're going to get on the Red Sox for sort of throwing games away and not being any good, then the Brewers kind of threw these games away. So did we win? Did they lose? Did we lose those other games against these other teams, or did we win? I don't know where to go with that. Sort of getting with John's point, you can't win when you walk 8 guys. The Red Sox walked 8 times today. So it really comes down to pitching. Yesterday they walked 5 times. It comes down to that approach. How are they doing things? We saw the Brewers throwing the ball around the field, not making plays. Is that just Major League Baseball? Are we so focused on the Red Sox that we're so tied in ourselves that seeing them every day, we are really focused on what they're doing, where this is really the team that is, just like everybody else? The Astros hammered us. Oh my God, they're a fantastic team. They just got swept by the Rockies. So is it doomsday? Maybe. Is it, hey, we're on a winning streak? I don't know where to go with this team. I do know that they have a roster that we've continued to talk about that is deficient. And we'll probably get into the lineup that we put up today. But the problem with that is we put up 2 terrible rosters. Like, if we were to look at the lineups the last 2 days, and we've sort of talked about it amongst ourselves, just how atrocious they are and that we're kind of giving it away. Well, guess what? They won with those 2 lineups, and they actually played small ball. They took pitches. I think it really just comes down to this is a very inconsistent and young team that we're going to see a lot of this from time to time to time. And, Nick, your point on Sonny Gray, absolutely. I was very impressed with his professionalism and how he pitched. What I'm a little bit worried about is he's beaten the Padres and he's beaten the Brewers. And he pitched against the Reds. He's faced 3 National League teams. When we get into the iron of the American League, I'm worried that his lack of sort of power is going to cost him if he doesn't have the location that he's got now. But sort of like John said, I'm going to take the positives with this. The bullpen came through these last couple of days. The starting rotation worked. And for the most part, we caught the ball and threw it properly, which is really the most important aspect of things. Whether we can do it consistently, I doubt. But hey, a win's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. The third strike. The third strike is brought to you tonight by Fundamentals First Academy, where grown adults relearn how to hit a cutoff man, run to first base when they hit the ball, and not throw the ball into the stands like it's souvenir night. Fair approved curriculum includes how not to beat yourself and yes, defense matters 101. Fundamentals first, because apparently someone and somebody has to teach this team. I want to get in tonight's talking points, and let us start with number one here, and that is the Red Sox can actually pitch. Sonny Gray shoves in the finale, Crochet deals in game two, bullpen doesn't implode, and suddenly the Red Sox look like they have a real pitching staff. For a team that looked like it couldn't get through 4 innings without chaos, this was a complete 180. Was this legit, or did Milwaukee just forget how to hit? My question is, are we finally seeing a strength, or is this just a temporary illusion? John, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, last year we saw kind of the same thing in the beginning of the season where the Red Sox pitching looked like they didn't have a spring training whatsoever, and they came out super slow to start the season. Nobody was even getting into the fifth inning besides Garrett Crochet. And the Red Sox record reflected that. They started the season really slow. They were under 500 until June. And, it was kind of like the same spot that we're in now where starting pitching just wasn't getting the job done. And, so same thing this year. Every single game that the Red Sox have lost, I don't think that that the starting pitcher has gone into the sixth inning to be in line for a win or a loss. And, say what you will, but like outside of Ranger Suarez, I think everybody's shown that, they're about there, especially Garrett Crochet and Connolly Early. But yeah, I mean, to your point, and to your question, actually, I don't think that it's an illusion whatsoever. Like this team's built off of the pitching and defense, which we've said 1,000 times, and obviously they haven't played up to that standard yet. But the last two games, we've started to see that a little bit outside of another Trevor Story error yesterday. But yeah, I mean, once the weather starts warming up a little bit and they start playing in places that are going to be a little bit warmer, I think that we're going to see the pitching, up to the standards that we expect them to be at.
Nick, same question to you. What you've seen in this series, do you think that, this pitching staff is going to turn it around and be the strength, or was this kind of an illusion?
I think it goes back to the point where we talked about prior to the season beginning. I think we all felt that the strength of this team was going to be at least the starting pitching because of depth, because of already having Crochet and already feeling like we had the Sonny Gray, who was a part of the equation now, the Ranger Suarez, who's now a part of the equation. I think it all comes down to the execution piece, though, right now. Right now, we've seen Crochet have a stinker and then a good one. We've seen the same with Sonny Gray, a kind of a stinker one, and then today, much better. We've seen Bayo with two clunkers. We've seen Ranger Suarez still trying to figure out when spring training begins. And then we've had... who's our other guy that we've got? Why am I forgetting the other name?
Early,
who I think we've seen pretty good, at least so far. I'm sorry. How the heck can I forget Conley Early? Duh, idiot. But anyways, I think overall, depth-wise, I think we'll be okay in the starting department. I am curious to know when we'll see Cutter Crawford come back. I could give a hill of beans when Patrick Sandoval returns. That ain't going to do you crap. Don't care. I think the question comes down to bullpen. If you're going to question anything, it's bullpen. We have the injury-prone version of Tristan Casas, which is Justin Slayton, who is now hurt yet again, out. Now it's about figuring out the pieces of the puzzle here in the bullpen. I think Whitlock we can be okay with and knowing that he'll get the job done if healthy. I'm curious to see what the left-handed setup mid-relief that 6-7 does. I really don't understand why we didn't bring Justin Wilson back. I really don't get that move. I don't. They could have used him quite a bit. I don't understand it, but we're seeing, at least from today, with Mr. Carmen Sandiego coming in, can that continue? Well, they're going to need it because now Slayton being down for at least 10 days, they need somebody to slot in there. Greg Weissert, we all know we want on Siberia. So, yeah, congrats, dude. You got through 2/3 of an inning today. Woohoo! But I also think the other question here aligns with what version of Aroldis Chapman are we going to get this season? Early on, I think he's of course not been the same. Are we going to chalk that up to it being early? Are we going to chalk that up to it still being cold? Maybe. But I think we also need to come down in our expectation here and do not expect what you saw last year again. I think if you see something in the mid twos to a 3 ERA of some sorts, I think the biggest thing with him is going to be control. If he can keep his control going like he did last season, I think we'll be in a good shape. But I think health-wise, I mean, the guy's 38 whatever years old in Dominican age, but I think he still looks like he's a 20-year-old. That's just how great that he takes care of himself. So I'm not overly concerned on that department. I am chopping at the bit, though, to see, and I know they're going to play this whole, got to keep him down to make sure the whole contract doesn't trigger. But I do want to see Peyton Tolley up here. I do. I think that will excite some things. And heck, if we go to another start and you see another Ranger Suarez crap show, crap your pants special, I want Tolley in the rotation. I do. And we can say sayonara to Ranger and put him on the IL. Let him figure it out. Because I think he's packing it in right now. That's my take.
Fair, over to you on the pitching as it relates to, is this something that we can, see a strength in, or is it just an illusion right now?
Well, in relationship to the offense, it's absolutely a strength, but that's not saying much. But I think it's going to be like Nick said, the starting pitching is really going to be the backbone of this team. And I agree that the back end of the bullpen is not going to be what it was last year. Chapman he can't live up to that. But hopefully he's a consistent person who will be able to come out and do what he needs to do. Whitlock should be okay. Slayton, his injury is unfortunate, but he is injury prone. The problem is we don't have anyone with stuff that's sort of comparable to that. So losing him is going to be important. And it really, as we sort of noticed, if they can't get 5 at least and then into the 6th, the underbelly of that bullpen is just not capable of producing on a daily basis. The Weiserts, the Kellys, I know he's done all right, but Watson, he's a Rule 5 guy. How many Rule 5 guys last an entire year where they're capable of doing something? And part of this might be that maybe we don't worry about the full season out of these guys. This might be where Cora just blows them out, and as soon as they're done, you sort of take the Tampa mode, pitch these guys so they can't pitch anymore, and then bring somebody else back up. That might be the way they're going, but it's very difficult to rely on guys who are Rule 5 and 28-year-old rookies and guys who are making their debuts at that age. They're doing that because they weren't capable of sort of catching on somewhere else. But I think the pitching will be okay. It's going to be better than the offense. We're going to need more games like this. But again, you win a game 5-0, it's all right, but it was really gifted to you.
Yep, exactly. Moving on to our second talking point is about Trevor Story. Trevor Story decided to play. We've been burying this guy, and then he shows up in this series like he's trying to win custody of his reputation back. 2-run double in game 2, RBI production at multiple spots. He was actually clutch, which kind of feels illegal at this point. And half the fans are saying he's back, and the other half are saying don't fall for it again. My question is he turning it around, or is this just kind of an annual 3-game story trap? Thayer, I'll start with you.
I've been all over Story for the last couple of years. However, you have to give him credit for last year. He's a professional baseball player. He's someone with pride. I think to be to excel at that level, you have to have confidence. You have to be on the verge of cocky. You have to have a lot of faith in yourself. And even when things are going wrong, you have to believe. And he does. And I think it's not easy to go from the 2-hole to the 5-hole. It's a demotion. They have an ego, but he's taking it well. He's producing. That's what happened to him last year when he understood his limitations and went the other way and stopped trying to yank everything and pull out. He was a serviceable baseball player. You know, if you look at the end of the year, and yes, he had a terrible beginning and his end of the year wasn't the best, and that was specifically defense, and we can talk to that a little bit later. But offensively speaking, he is an intelligent person. He's one of the few guys that is actually intelligent on the base pass and in the box. If he maintains that focus, we're better with him than without him.
John, same question to you. Your thoughts on Trevor's story?
Yeah, I mean, he finally gets slotted down to the 5-hole in this series, and he went 3 for 11. He had 6 RBIs, 2 in each game. He only struck out twice. And we're still waiting for the first walk of the year. I think he's only one of around 4 to 6 qualified hitters that still haven't walked. But listen, you get demoted and you're a professional about it. He, again, 2 RBIs in each of these games, especially in game 2 where biggest stat bat of the year for him to that point. He came through. But like Thayer said, last year he started really slow. Every single person on the planet was calling for him to get DFA'd. And then, they got to Atlanta last year and everything turns around immediately. What are we saying here? Good riddance. Yeah, exactly. So, he's a guy that at least last year in his first season that he actually played more than 100 games with the Red Sox, took him a little while to get going. And hopefully that's the same case this year. But, through one series of him not hitting in the 2-hole, I have nothing to complain about whatsoever.
Nick, turning it over to you. Trevor's story.
What do you think I'm going to say? Like, come on. This segment was so perfect for me. I know why you let me go last. Of course I know why you let me do that. I can't stand Trevor Story. I can't stand him. I never wanted him here initially. He is the reason Xander Bogaerts is not here. I was a huge Xander guy. I'm not going to get over these things. I had a funny customer today. We were talking about the Red Sox and everything. We were venting back and forth. And he goes, you'd be a lot happier if you just get over things. And I told him, you make me a lot happier if you left the building. I can't. I'm not going to get over these things. Thank you. At least somebody laughs at my jokes. I'm sick of it. Even the kids, when I run a program, don't laugh at my jokes sometimes. I throw them out too, just like I want to do with Trevor Story.
Just one last thing on Faust, on Story. I'm going to drop a little, in honor of my mother, a little educational English knowledge here. We need him to turn into Faust again and make a deal with the devil like he did last year. Just to do something. If he can do that again for us, we're going to be fine.
My thing on Trevor Story, I'm with Nick. I don't like him. I don't want him here. I never was a Trevor Story fan. I thought he was a typical, Colorado Rocky transplant and probably one of the worst of those guys that left that organization. Some of them have had pretty decent careers elsewhere. I just don't like him. I think he's too streaky. There's just not enough consistency with him. He's been hurt. It's just been an awful contract. To me, it's just going to go.
You can't count on him.
You can't count on him. I think it's just going to be one of those things where, when it's all over and said and done, he'll be forgotten about pretty quickly. And it's going to go down as one of the top 10, worst contracts that they ever signed. I got to move along.
I got a really good thing.
I got to move along. Yep. I know. The offense did something revolutionary, situational hitting. Game 3 especially, RBI walk, sac fly, singles with runners on base, No hero ball, no 3-run home run dependency, just actual baseball, which makes it even more infuriating because where the hell was this all week? Fans are more annoyed than impressed because it proves that they can do it. My question to you, Nick, I'll start with you. Is this an unlocking of the offense, or is this just a little bit of luck? 60
I think
seconds.
we had a little bit of luck with walks, number one, and then I guess you can't stink all the time. I guess you can't. But yes, getting on base makes a difference, guys. It makes a difference. I don't care if you bunt the ball. I don't care if you walk. I don't care if the opposing player makes an error. Get your sorry behind on the base, because this team does have potential to have wheels, meaning you can steal bases, you can manufacture runs, things that we have been screaming off the mountaintops for. Get on base. Wouldn't you think? The Moneyball approach.
Yeah, John, 60 seconds. Your thoughts on the hitting?
I mean, we've said it a couple times on your last couple of shows. We all know that this offense is gonna have a series like this where they put up runs consistently, they get guys on base consistently, and then they're gonna have series like they did in Houston where, you know, you go down 1-0 and you think the game's already over. It feels like you're down 5-0. So you know, it's hard to say kind of what I expect out of the offense, just because, you know, we don't know what we're going to get out of it. So that's why, you know, the pitching is so important for this team. You're not going to win too many games when you're giving up 4 or more runs. So you know, when the offense is drawing walks, they're not striking out, they're going to win a lot of games. And you know, we saw it in this series. When the pitching's giving up runs and the hitters are striking out, swinging at balls that are bouncing in the opposite batter's box, they're going to lose a lot of games. So, you know, and one thing that I really appreciate out of Alex Cora right now is the fact that he's willing to let the guys play small ball, or maybe not let them, but make them play small ball. We've seen in the last couple of years that he has tended to stray away from that idea, especially getting multiple runners on base with 0 outs. He's always kind of let the guys go ahead and hit. But this year we've seen it multiple times now where guys are laying down bunts. And then on top of that, guys are just getting the job done, especially in this series when, you know, runners on base less than 2 outs.
Yeah, you know, I think the problem, I like small ball too, and I think the problem is this drive line. You know, it's all about
absolutely.
It's all about launch angle. It's all about Pete Fatsy. It's just, it ruins that part of the game. I mean, I don't understand what the problem with, you know, bunting runners over and then driving them in with a sacrifice fly, why that's a big issue. I mean, Navarez, you look at his bunt, I forgot which game that was, but I mean, it was textbook. You couldn't ask for a better bunt than what he provided you.
He learned how to bunt from David Hamilton.
Yeah, I know. He's doing great for the Milwaukee Brewers. Thayer, your thoughts on the offense? Is it going to come around?
I think it'll come around, and I think they'll get there to the point where probably they're a little bit more sort of situational. I don't think it's going to be as impressive as we want it to be, but it's sort of ironic that we talked a little bit about the lineups. Today is the day they did most of it. Now, Kiner Falefa, you have Navarez, Durbin, Contreras, and Montessorio. All guys that were not in this organization at the beginning of the year last year, when you count Navarez. But the other 4 weren't even in this organization this year. So they are coming from places where, you know what, situational hitting, drive line isn't something. And that's what happens today. We sort of talked about it. You know, oh my God, and they're also guys that are used to being bench guys doing what is supposed to be done, role players. And look what happens. You know, we mock that it's not sort of the 04 Red Sox, but you know what? Right now, we're not going to get the 04 Red Sox, and our starting roster isn't the 04 Red Sox, even when they're in there. So they're not going to be hammering the ball all over the place. Maybe they could take a little bit of lesson from these guys who are willing to sacrifice a little bit of personal glory for team pride.
Yeah, the one crazy thing about the Red Sox, I put this tweet out today. It doesn't look like a team that has a $264 million payroll, especially when 35 million of that payroll is dedicated to injured players and players who are no longer on this organization. So $35 million just thrown away to people who are not playing for you. Moving to the last topic before we go to the lineups and matchups for the next series. Trusting the Red Sox. It's kind of like a little bit more of a little bit from what I just said, so we won't put too much time on it. But the lineup's coming off a brutal start. They're coming off a brutal start. The lineup disappears for games at a time. The front office hasn't really inspired confidence, and the fan base has been pretty much broken right now. What is it going to take exactly for you to believe in the team again? Nick, I'll start with you. What's it going to take for the Red Sox for you to believe in them right now?
Do you want me to lie?
No, tell the truth. And you can't just say winning. What are you going to say?
You mean for this team right now, not organizationally?
Yeah, this team.
I can't trust this team until I see what happens come August. I think right now we have about a 500 team. I don't think they're as bad as we've seen this past week. I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to be honest on that. But the question here is, can this adversity that they face in not really being able to hit, not really having situational hitters, question marks in the bullpen, defensive issues, can Roman Anthony be an actual stud in baseball? I think that's my biggest question that I have regarding the whole entire organization and team right now. I look at square one. We were told Roman is a star. I don't see it, guys. I don't see it. So if that's not happening, much like we've said, this team isn't going to go anywhere. And that is not fair to Roman Anthony either. I want to make sure that is crystal clear. This is an organizational failure if something drastically happens with him. And we're already kind of seeing signs that it is a disaster. Case in point with the ramen noodle arm.
Yep, Ramen Anthony.
And I'm not going to be able to look at this team until the end of August, early September to say, oh yeah, I guess they can do something. I can't.
Well, one of the things that is really upsetting, again, and keep going back to this offseason, the Red Sox and management and ownership are trying to sell you, the fan, that this is a World Series caliber team, and we should have those expectations. And fans who are clamoring online that say, you can't have this every year, or they're building something. They've been building for 5 years now. Okay. We've been jammed down our throats since 2019 that Tristan Casas is coming. Christian Campbell is coming. Mayer is coming. He's the second best guy since, Jesus Christ. All this stuff about all these minor league guys, they're all here now, and we're not seeing a lot of that production. And a lot of the young guys, to Thair's point, you have a lot of guys coming from other organizations that are role-type players. That's not how you build a championship roster. You really, to me, don't identify a problem, meaning that you needed a right-handed bat in addition to Bregman, along with a number 2 starter, and then bring in number 3 starters and actually lose Bregman and not really replace the extra bat that you needed going into the offseason. And then tell the fans, well, here's a bunch of, guys that we're going to bring in like Falefa and Monasterio and Durbin and, revamp 3/5 of your starting rotation and tell me it's a championship club. So for me to believe, I'll just kind of go next. For me to believe in this team again, they've got to start with playing fundamental baseball. As far as I'm concerned, I'll start believing, because I think if they start playing fundamental baseball, they can actually win some ball games. Right now, they can't even do that. Outside of this series, like you said, Nick, too many errors, too many gaffes. Those are the things that are going to cost them, and that's what would make them an under 500 team. John, you're next.
Yeah, I mean, right off the rip, what's going to make me trust them now more than anything? You got 3 games against the St. Louis Cardinals and then 3 games against the Minnesota Twins. Got at least 4 out of 6. So, and that's step 1 or step 2, we'll say. Step 1, absolutely, Jim. Fundamental baseball. I can't stand watching these guys play every single night, and it's just dumb after dumb after dumb. Whether that's Trevor Story throwing off his back feet and missing Wilson Contreras at first base by 15 feet, or it's Ceddanne Rafaela making a bad route, which I'm not concerned with him whatsoever on his ability to play the outfield, obviously. But, just the dumb stuff that we've seen early in the season, that's got to stop. And then, again, win four out of these next 6 games. I don't care if it's a sweep and then you win 1 out of 3, but win at least 4 out of these next 6, and I'm gonna be not completely trustworthy, but I'm gonna feel really good about what's going on with the team. And then after that, you got a tough series against the Tigers, and then you go and play the Yankees, and that's gonna be the real first test of the season. So, start stacking wins now. Stop doing the dumb stuff.
Thayer, what's going to take you to believe again?
What it's going to take me to trust the Red Sox is the Red Sox to show me that the front office and the GM trust the manager and the players. I want to see if Trevor Story does not turn it around. I want to see Marcelo Mayer playing shortstop. I want Alex Cora. Now, I get it. Sort of the kid is still young, throwing him in against lefties. He's never proven he can hit lefties. He needs an opportunity. But he needs to be shown a little bit of faith. And if he starts to continue to hit against those lefties, he needs to play. Pitchers like Greg Weissert, if Cora continues to throw him in there and he continues to get blasted, he needs to be removed from that situation, and Cora needs to find somebody else.
Tommy Kahnle.
And at the same, whoever. Mm-hmm. But then again, and the same thing is the front office has to understand if this team does start to show things and we still, we lose Ottavino or did we lose Oviedo? Sorry. We lose if Slayton is really hurt. Are they going to, and this team, I'm not talking goes on a 10-game winning streak like we've done, but wins 4, 5, 6 series, out of 10, starts to get themselves back up closer to 500, and they notice there's a weakness on this team. Are they going to go out and do something before the trade deadline, before the All-Star break to improve the team? Or are they just going to say, we've got some guys. Here comes Peyton Tolley. Here comes this guy. Here comes that guy, like they always do. I don't want that. This team has pockets. I want them to go out and get a professional to come in to show that they trust this team. That's when I will trust the Red Sox.
Moving right along to our next series. So the Red Sox are off tomorrow as they travel to St. Louis. We're going to be in St. Louis for a 3-game series starting Friday night, April 10th, an 8:15 start. That's going to be Connolly early against old friend Dustin May. Then on Saturday, a 7:15 start will be Ranger Suarez against Kyle Leahy. And then finally, the Game 3 matchup, which will be at 2:15 on Sunday, which will be Brian Bayo scheduled against Andre Payente, I think is how it's pronounced. So Dustin May comes in at an 0-2 record with a 15.95 ERA. He's been absolutely awful for St. Louis. Leahy is 1-1 with a 5.40 ERA, and Payente comes in at 1-0 with a 1.80 ERA. So Thayer, let me start with you. What is your prediction for the 3-game series coming up?
I'm going to say 2-1. I'm not going to go with the sweep. This team is still a little too inconsistent. They have to beat Dustin May. If they don't win that game, then it's all for naught. But I think you'll probably see, kind of like today, this series, where they'll get one. They'll probably be looking at a split, and then someone has to win the rubber game on Sunday. So I think I give it the nod there to the Red Sox, taking 2 out of 3.
John, what's your predictions for the series?
I got 2 out of 3 as well. I think you got to beat Dustin May. They will beat him, and you got Connolly early on the mound. He's going to shove. He's going to give you hopefully 6 innings, but definitely 5. And then game 2 with Leahy, you said, creative player. Not concerned about him. That's probably going to bite me in the ass for saying it, but you're going to win the first 2. And then game 3, left-handed pitcher on the mound. We know how the Red Sox have played against lefties the past couple of years. Last year wasn't too bad, but with this roster, probably going to see IKF again on
Payente's a righty.
Yeah, I'm talking about. He's a righty?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
What? I always thought he was a lefty. All right.
And none of these guys are hard throwers, which could benefit the Red Sox. You're not looking at guys that are going to pump 95 and above.
All right, I lied then. I got a sweep.
Okay. All right. Hey, that is what it is.
Jesus Christ.
Nick, your predictions for the St. Louis series.
Oh, John, you're gonna kill me. If you can't beat Dustin May, I'm gonna say this with as much confidence in the world. Pack it up. That's it. If you can't beat Dustin May, pack it up. Go home. Because I don't want to see a pathetic excuse of yourself in the next game moving forward. Let's just I'm going to put it as nicely as I can on that. You lose, you die. Now, going to Saturday. That's the Ranger Suarez start, and that's against Kyle Leahy. And then you have Bayo on the Sunday start. Anybody want to give anybody a kick in the ass? Because that's where it comes for these 2 games, because that's what the 2 of them need. If they can't get back on track in this series against the Cardinals, I don't want to be doomsday anymore. Meaning, if they can't get it done, I don't have faith in telling you that this is going to be a team to watch or that is going to be playoff bound. They have got to figure it out. And this is your series to figure it out. So, John, I do echo your statement. It should be a sweep. I agree. But knowing what we've seen results-wise, I'm going to go 2 of 3 Red Sox. But even you can hear my voice, I'm hesitant on it because I don't want to be fooled. I feel like I was played on Tuesday and Wednesday for the Red Sox, yesterday and today. I feel like I was played like a fiddle. This jerk said we were going to get sweeped and we did it. So I need that evidence. I feel like a police detective right now. And I got to put my brown coat on and get my what do you call that? What do you call that little thing? Microscope? No, it's a magnifying glass.
Magnifying glass.
And just
stick Tracy over here.
See, yes, I don't want to say that. I almost did because that would not be good. And I think you know where I'm going, Jim. I can't put a you-know-what in front of my name. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. That being said, I am also going to go clean sweep here with the panel. I'm going to say the Red Sox are going to take 2 out of 3. But in true Red Sox fan form, I will tell you that they will not beat Dustin May. Okay. Dustin May will throw 5 innings of shutout ball and strike out 8. Because that's what happens. And you know it. And I know it. They'll beat the bullpen.
I'll go get my gun.
All right. They'll beat the bullpen or they'll lose game 1. But they are not gonna. They're not gonna destroy Dustin May. Dustin May will have
kill me now.
An absolute great. I'm not saying they're gonna win that game or lose that game, but Dustin May will not be the losing pitcher in that game, and you will be frustrated to all holy hell that it's 2-0 Cardinals going into the 5th. So just wait, because that's what happens with this organization and team. Time for some comments. Let's see what we've got here.
We had a good one that just happened at the very end, and I want to say
Jules
to Jules
said,
I
"Face, don't
salute
be
you.
fooled." You can't fool the face. You can't fool the face. Jules also says that was E4 and Hammy, not a knock. Yeah, you know what? He's been looking really good for the Brewers, I'll tell you. Where was Massa? Yeah, Massa wasn't around. Interestingly
Japan.
enough. Jules said Bastards said the same. Milwaukee has bags packed. We don't care about the Bastards. We don't care about Terry the Toad. Starting pitch will be stretched out by the All-Star game. You know what? Hopefully by that point. The question is what I said before. If you get too far behind, you can't win a championship in April, but you can lose one. You just don't want to be really far behind by the time stuff starts clicking. Groovy Weenie, again, loves the Martinello Minute. There is a T-shirt. If you haven't ordered one yet, go to RedSoxDigest.com, go to the store, and you can buy your own piece of the Martinello Minute. Red Sox are trending. I'm 70, been trending since 55. You know, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully they turn it around and we've got a good series coming up. Popeye Doyle. I don't know about that. Yep. And YouTube didn't notify you. You may want to check on that. I'm not quite sure if there's any kind of issues with YouTube today.
Give him a
But
knock.
we appreciate the comments. Waited all day for this. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Core sits as best defender and Mayer. Mayer's going to be a platoon guy. It looks like all season, unless he starts killing it with the bat and starts showing that
He's
he can
Cora's
hit.
ragdoll, folks. That's what he is. Cora's ragdoll.
Yep.
Pissed me off that he wasn't in the lineup today.
Jules
Same
said
here.
didn't address the mid pen. Weisert's part of that mid pen. I don't know. They're okay. I'm not a Weissert fan, never will be. Nate says, right with you, Mr. Face. Dude never
That's my
misses.
grandfather.
Betty says, Nick, I feel and felt the same about Story and is the main reason she hated Bloom. He is injured when paid. Bogey would have signed for that money, and the problem with Rafi never would have happened. I totally agree with this. I don't know about you guys, but if Bogarts was still here, number one, everybody says, oh, it's a terrible contract. Forget about the contract that he signed with San Diego. You would not have signed him for that money. You would have gotten him, and if they had signed Devers 2 years prior, they would have gotten both those guys for the money that they signed Devers for alone. Not only that, but if Bogarts was here last year, I don't think this stuff with Rafi gets out of hand. I really do. I think Bogarts would have taken him aside and he would have calmed him down, and both of those guys would still be here.
If Bogarts were here, there wouldn't have been a Bregman because they brought in Bregman to be a leader. Bogarts would have been your leader. Story would have still been playing second base.
Yep.
Where he should be.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. He would not have been here.
That guy was begging for a contract till spring training, and the Red Sox wouldn't give it to him.
Yeah, Betty also says all prospects are suspects until they prove themselves in the majors. This is what a team like the Boston Red Sox is supposed to do. You get these prospects and then you trade them for better personnel. And that's what they've done when they've done well. You look at what Dave Dombrowski goes. He's one of my favorite GMs of all time. People always claim he gutted the farm system. And I always say, which trade do you want back? Because none of them worked out. The only guy that was at least halfway decent and had a half of a career was Manny Margot, and he jumped around a little bit quite for different teams as well. JDon11 says Durbin is a platoon. I'm not sold on Durbin yet. I don't know how that's going to work out, but we'll see. And then Betty also says,
what I think of him
4A
right
player,
now.
yeah. I don't believe Mayer will platoon all year. If he starts hitting, he will. With the defense is there. There's no question. It's time for – we haven't had one of these in a while, but it's time for Dugout Dipshits.
And now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the Dugout Dipshits.
So today I put out a tweet. And I said, after I saw the lineup, I said, I'm at the part of my Red Sox life where you have Andrew Monasterio batting second for the Boston Red Sox in what is a guy who's a platoon player that was a throw-in from another organization. And now I've got to see him be the second batter on my Red Sox team when you had a history of all these great players over the course of the last 50 years. And now I have this. And so not only was it irritating enough, but Hank Chapman said to me and in the comments that I should get a new life. And what I'll say to Hank is you should get a new dental plan.
You guys think he's related to Aroldis?
I had questioned that. I had
In his
questioned
belly.
that. Yeah. I reached out to Aroldis. I haven't heard back yet. So remains to be seen. Any last minute
I do.
things anybody wants to? Nick, go ahead.
Before you rudely interrupted me on one of your segments, I wanted to read my statement. Oh no! This one. Trevor Story is the equivalent of Dave O'Brien. I wish we had Xander. I wish we still had Donnie.
Well said. Well said. Anybody else for tonight? John, go ahead.
Yeah. Jen McCaffrey put out a tweet earlier today, I think before the game started. Said that Slayton's obviously frustrated that he's on the IL again, but he thinks it's minor. Said soreness cropped up after back-to-backs the other day and hasn't subsided, so they don't want to push it and make it worse. And he's hoping for the minimum time on the IL, which retroactive to the 5th, I think. And it's a 15-day stint, so hopefully he's back in under 2 weeks. And then, Sox are 4-8. Obviously, terrible start. Won their last 2, but there's only 3 teams in the AL right now that are above 500. And the Red Sox are only a game and a half. Obviously, it's not even the 10th of April yet, but they're only 1.5 games out of a wild card spot. So for everything that we've said about them and everybody else has, not too concerned, about what their playoff chances are or whatever. I know Fangraphs has them now at 82 wins this season. I'm not one to look at the standings until typically the end of this month going into May, but I peeked at it today. Obviously Sox are in last in the East, but 1.5 games out of a playoff spot, just start stacking wins and you have nothing to worry about.
Really quick round robin. Surprised or not surprised? Fair. Tristan Casas has another setback.
No.
John.
No.
Nick. Surprised or not surprised? Justin Slayton is hurt. There.
No.
John.
Indifferent.
Nick. Surprised or not surprised? Johan Oviedo is injured. There.
Nope.
John.
I actually am surprised that he's injured.
Nick.
What?
That's what
Present.
I thought.
What?
Bueller. That's all the time we have for tonight. I'd like to thank the panel, Nick, John, and Thayer for being on with me. And also, too, if you have not gone ahead and registered and done got an account on our RedSoxDigest.com, please go ahead and do so. On there, you can get a free account. And I know, and get a free account, and we get the emails of the games after the next morning. I'll send the articles out, and also too, you can get copies of this podcast as well. Also too, for every day that we are on the air, we are doing what's known as the Star of the Game. The Star of the Game. Just look for the information on my Twitter handle. And it'll talk about how to register. All you have to do is before the game starts, Just put in who you think the star of the game is for that particular outing, and you get a star. And if you have the most stars by the end of the season, you get a $100 gift card to the MLB shop. So, Nick, who was your star of the game today?
Oh, Sonny Gray. Absolutely. That was my guy. So good to see that. Very refreshing. Confidence, wants the ball. Team Sonny.
Okay, so Sonny Gray is your star of the game. We'll check to see if anybody had a match, and then we'll keep those tallies up till the end of the year. All right, everybody, have a great night. We will be back with you, I believe, on Sunday night. So we'll be able to wrap up that St. Louis series, and we'll have all the breakdowns. And if there's any breaking news, we'll fix it. Have a good night.